Big ambition does not require a chaotic, overcomplicated life. It does, however, require you to do simple but often uncomfortable things. Do you aspire to an uncomplicated and fulfilling way of life? I'm Dianne Squires, aka Dianne. That's what all my friends call me. I'm an island woman living on the island of Barbados and walking my path to a big and simple life. Walk with me and learn with me. Welcome to the Island Woman podcast. Hello again. I am back with my notepad today because your feedback on the unscripted episode last week was so good, and actually it was such a relief. So I'm back with another unscripted episode this week. At the beginning of this year, January 2026, I took a look back at my 2025. The lessons that I had learned for 2025. I took out the handy notepad again and I wrote them down. It turns out that there were 25 main lessons that I learned over the course of 2025. That was not planned, but it just turned out that way. However, what I did realize, what was evident in many of those 25 lessons, was one overriding thing. And I took the time to write it out again on the handy notepad today. And I want to read that to you because that is the basis of today's episode. And it's this: big ambition does not require a chaotic, overcomplicated life. It does, however, require you to do simple but often uncomfortable things. So today's episode is about the efficiency of discomfort, if you can imagine that. But we spend a lot of time and energy trying to avoid discomfort. And a lot of the time that is wasted energy and effort because you're taking months and months trying to decide whether or not you should do something when you know it is on your list of things to do. But just because it feels or seems or in your head, you perceive it as one of the most uncomfortable, painful things for you to do, you avoid it. And so you're spending months and months of energy when you could just get it out of the way, get it done. You either get a yes or a no, or maybe we should try it differently next time, but at least you have gotten that out of the way. So doing the uncomfortable can often be so efficient for us. And this is really key for us as entrepreneurs. And I want to unpack that today with a couple of points that I have noted. Just thinking about my 2025, a lot of the things that I started to do that I was avoiding, and that were really, by avoiding them, I was simply wasting time and wasting energy. So the first thing is just let people know what you want. It's often uncomfortable for us to think of being so open and vulnerable about something that we do want, but we're afraid that people are going to judge us for wanting that thing. But it just makes sense to, if you have to prepare how you say it, prepare how you would like people to receive it. I am all for that as a communicator. Yes, do that. But the thing is to get it done. So let people know what you want. So if it is that you want the sale, or if you want advice, or if you just want to be introduced to someone that a friend knows or a colleague knows because it would be good to be connected, or they have information that would be useful to you, or you want to be introduced to a prospect, just let people know what you want. For you, it is less time and energy wasted thinking about, oh, am I going to do it? Should I do it? All the ifs and buts and what ifs. And for them, it just avoids all the beating around the bush and gives them a clear idea of what you want. So do the 30 seconds of being awkward, of feeling a little bit cringe, and avoid months and months of wasted time and energy. So let people know what you want. The second point that I have here when it comes to discomfort is just moving your plan from the paper to action. As entrepreneurs, we have so much information on how to make plans, on how to kind of logically move through and sequence through making a vision happen, of strategizing. And again, this is something that I am all for. As a communications strategist, someone who advises people on strategy, it makes a lot of sense to understand where you want to get to and then figure out how you're going to get there. But the key thing after that is to make sure that you start making all of the steps to get there. You do the things that will get you to the vision or get you to the goal. In doing those things, yes, sure, you may have to pivot a little bit. This always happens. It is life. Things change, things evolve, markets change, people change, you change, your business environment changes. That's a given. But do not leave the plan on paper getting dusty while every day you're groping around trying to figure out what to do next when you had the plan. So take the plan out, look at step one, and please, for goodness sake, do step one. See what happens with step one, and that will tell you whether or not step two makes sense, or if you should change step two, or you can now go on to step two, or if you should have started with step two. But you will never know until you take the plan from paper and start making action. So you need to be able to test your plan and get going. And this is something that I really learned last year. I made a very comprehensive plan at least 2 years ago. I have been inching through that plan and I have been avoiding some of the things on that plan because they felt uncomfortable. But here we are in 2026, 3 years after the plan that was made, and some of the things on the plan that were supposed to happen in 2024, I am now actioning after wasting 2 years, not 2 minutes, not 2 months, not 2 weeks, 2 years of my life not doing the thing. All right, so get that plan off paper and start doing. That's my advice to you because the quicker you can test and see whether or not what you had planned actually works, the better for you. All right. No, number three, patience, being patient. I talked about inching through that plan. The other side of the coin, sometimes we feel uncomfortable if we're not going at at the hare's pace. We're not often comfortable going at the tortoise pace because it looks like everybody else is way ahead of us, making so much progress while we're back here enduring, taking step by step, taking in the view, learning along the way, building muscle along the way. And we are just so impatient to get ahead, just like it looks like everybody else is doing. However, though patience and being patient with yourself may be uncomfortable, it makes complete, total sense to be patient enough to learn your lessons as you go. As we said last week, to iterate and to evolve as you go. So you're taking in the journey, you're not racing ahead through it. There are times when speed is absolutely necessary, and there are other times when patience is that absolute necessity. All right, so have patience with yourself, have patience with your ideas, and allow them to grow and evolve. All right, this is number three. Muscle is built through tension. You know that I talked in last week's episode about my journey with going back to the gym and how much progress I've seen in my body and how much better I feel just for doing that. I don't necessarily want to harp on this, but if you know how muscle is built, this is such a wonderful metaphor for how you build a better business, how you build a stronger business, and how you build a better life. I'm going to put it this way: lift heavier. Allow yourself to take on the discomfort of having a little more to carry. And I'm not talking about taking on a lot more busy work, just doing this and doing that and doing the next and doing everything that you see everyone else doing. No, I'm talking about taking on the load of doing just a little bit more of the thing that is working. Ooh, that thing just worked. How can we make it a little bit better and do a little more, go a little bit deeper, make it a little bit more expansive, especially if you're serving clients and you see that something has worked. Don't be so quick to pivot away from it. However, go a little bit deeper, carry a heavier load, expand your knowledge in that area and be able to expand your service offering in that area and really start to master that area of work. The analogy with muscle, did you know that just lifting slightly, a little bit of load, more load, what is happening with muscle is that you're actually tearing muscle fibers. And when they tear, they're actually reforming into stronger fibers. I know the scientists in my community, the specialists in my community can correct me and correct um, that picture of what muscle does, but essentially that's it. It's tearing and it's reforming to be stronger. So sometimes you have to do that uncomfortable thing, carry that uncomfortable load so that you will get stronger. You can do more efficiently, essentially. And that's what we want to do. We don't want to spend so much time doing things inefficiently. We do want to spend less time doing things very much more efficiently. Does that make sense? All right. Let's go on to the last thing, which is similar. This one is about making every single day count towards the vision. I think I'm really enamored by the concept of efficiency, especially now that I'm over 50. Obviously, when you get over 50, your thinking is that you have less time than you had before. So you're really thinking about how to maximize every moment of your day, every moment of your life, doing the things that really count, but also doing the things that get you further, faster. It's not about doing more, but doing the things that really count. And so you're making every day count. That means eliminating a lot of things that just are, like I said, busy work. I am in communications and marketing communications, and one of the things that I would say is busy work many of the times is what we think we need to do on social media. Maybe years ago when social media was a new thing, or at 3 years ago when it wasn't as new, but algorithms were different, it was about spending a lot of time creating a lot of content just to get eyes on you. When you reach a different stage of your business or your life, and you are trying to be efficient, whether or not you have a big team or a small team, you ought to be thinking of what are the big ticket items that really move things forward. Whether that applies to social media or traditional media or the time that you spend face to face with a client or the time that you spend going out to speak to a group or the time that you assign to planning or the time that you spend or assign to doing your books or interfacing with the person who is doing your books. What makes the most sense for your time now? Is it doing a lot more, or is it doing this one thing today and making sure that that one thing gets done. That's what I mean by making every day count. I've started to have a list of maybe 1 to 3 things that I must complete in one day, because those 1 to 3 things are the things that I know will move me forward. I'm really trying to eliminate a lot of the very busy work that's just about being seen more or being seen to do more. No, it's about actually getting the real value based things done. And I know that people may think, but didn't you talk about a visibility program that you're offering? Yes, I do offer a visibility program. And actually, that is one of the key lessons for the visibility program. It matters where and when and how you are seen, and not necessarily how often you are seen. But when you are seen, you have to be there to give deep, critical, wide ranging value. That's really what we ought to be concentrating on. So that's what was one of the lessons for me, which was reiterated in 2025. And one of the things that I'm really taking into 2026 and beyond, because I don't have unlimited time. And the time that I do spend, whether it's recording this podcast or whether it is on building the business, every little moment counts. So that's it. I think that discomfort can often be extremely efficient for us. It's often some of the most uncomfortable things that we can do that are the simplest. But yes, they don't feel so good in our bodies. They sometimes feel cringe to us, but they're the things that can really catapult us to that point where we see ourselves, to the vision that we have for ourselves. And so sometimes we have to build up that discomfort muscle, our ability to manage discomfort. And oftentimes we do realize that things aren't as bad as we thought they were going to be. So it, in reality, is not as uncomfortable as you perceived. There are so many people who are in your corner and open to hearing from you, open to giving you advice, open to giving you help, and sometimes just letting people know what you want is helpful. If I'm recapping my points here, and then getting on with the plan that you have instead of wasting time with what ifs on each of the activities. Just test them, go ahead and do it, and pivot and learn along the way. And then take those 1 or 2 things that make the most sense, are going to give you the most bang for your buck every single day, and concentrate on those. Put everything else aside. They can come after, but do the 1, 2, or 3 things maximum, really, that will move you ahead a lot more quickly. So that's it from me. Thankful for my lessons from 2025, because like I said, they're taking me into 2026 and beyond. And I hope that sharing them with you has proven helpful for you. And so that is my unscripted episode for today. This has been episode 11 of season 3 of the Island Woman podcast. Thank you so, so much for listening, for taking the time. Remember, if you're listening on audio platforms, leave me a review. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what you like, maybe what you don't like. Especially let me know what you would like to hear a lot more of. If you're listening or watching from YouTube, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with a friend, leave a comment, or do both. Thank you so much for listening to episode 11, season 3 of the Island Woman podcast. I'm your Island Woman, Dianne Squires, aka Dianne. Until next time, peace.